Week ahead, it all gets up and running live from Ibrox Stadium. More to come from Richard Foster. We're joining our commentary team now of Stephen Thompson, Mark Haitley and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Rich. Welcome to Ibrox as the curtain prepares to come down on Rangers' Champions League and indeed their European campaign this evening. It's not a good atmosphere inside Ibrox, despite the fact that we've just heard the Champions League theme inside the stadium for the last time this season. The Ajax fans starting with a load of pyrotechnics over on the far side, and they've travelled in good numbers certainly from Amsterdam, hoping to see their side clinch the Europa League place that looks certain to be theirs. Plenty of chat about unwanted records up for grabs tonight. Rangers desperate certainly to avoid the tag of the worst ever Champions League team. And though the miracle required to usurp Ajax for that Europa League spot is likely to be beyond them, a victory could go a long way towards lifting spirits around these parts. The Dutch league leaders will have other ideas, though, brought back to earth by Napoli and Liverpool after thumping Rangers at the start of September. Alfred Schroeder and his side will hope to maintain their 100% record against tonight's opponents. The two captains, Tavernier of Rangers and Dusan Tadic of Ajax, have swapped pennants. They've gone through the handshakes with the referee, who also took charge of Shakhtar against Celtic Glenn Newberg of Sweden out in Warsaw just a few weeks back. The 34-year-old. The VAR tonight is Marco Fritz of Germany. We are just about ready to get going here. Rangers, in their traditional home kit, will kick us off, going from right to left as we look at it from a superb vantage point in the main stand. Ajax in their change kit of a gold top, black shorts and gold socks, going from left to right as the smoke from the pyrotechnics in that far corner just drifts over the stadium, descends onto the pitch, makes it look a little bit misty on this autumn evening. Glenn Newberg is happy. Ryan Kent has us underway, and it's immediately fired forward as Rangers look to start on the attack, and Davis heads it forward. Here's an early chance perhaps for Čolak. He just gives Timber a shove inside the area, though the chance is gone. Free kick to Ajax inside the box, and Tom, as I was saying, despite the fact that it's almost a nothing game, there's a good sense of atmosphere around Ibrox this evening.
Well, certainly is, and you're right to point out the travelling support, a great travelling support, lots of noise inside the stadium. They want to enjoy this last Champions League game. As I said earlier, you don't know how long it's going to be before the next time you get to play at this level, but a positive start there from Rangers. A long diagonal from King, flicked on, almost getting Čolak through on goal.
King playing on the left of the centre-back pairing with Sands on the right of that. Both pretty inexperienced, certainly the teenager King. What season it's been for him, just thrown in at the deep end ultimately, and for the most part has done himself pretty proud, no doubt helping in terms of his development as Čolak wins possession in the middle of the park, knocks it back to King. King for his central defensive partner Sands, just at the edge of the box, back to Alan McGregor as Kudus goes to try and close down, back to Sands on the right hand side of his penalty area. Forward it goes to Arfield, and then Tavernier and Sakala on different wavelengths. Ajax pick up possession. Given up though, Sakala's got it back, coming forward down the right hand side, finds Čolak. Kent might have been the better ball, he looked to be on there for Sakala, but I think, as we've said on more than one occasion in the past, Mark, he doesn't always lift his head and look for what might be the better option.
Yeah, needs to get his head up there. Kent having a clear running on goal, just a head up. So that's a criticism of Sakala. You know, as soon as he gets the ball, his head's down. He's wanting to take players on, but he needs to learn to get his head up.
It's almost as if his head's going as fast as his feet are, and he just can't quite compose himself in time. I actually felt as though the speed he was going, he could have gone himself as well and tried to commit the defender, but it was positive enough.
Certainly positive and a good start from Rangers, but nothing to show for it as Barisic knocks a pass out of play just in front of Giovanni van Bronckhorst. 2.5 in at Ibrox. Ajax haven't seen too much of the ball as yet, but they have got a throw in here to be taken by the Mexican fullback Jorge Sanchez. Davis has won it back though, but he's run it out of play, and it'll be another throw in midway inside the Rangers half on the right hand side as Ajax come forward, again to be taken by Sanchez, who's in the Mexican 31-man provisional World Cup squads. All these provisional squads will have to be whittled down pretty soon with the World Cup almost upon us. Forwards come Ajax, and it's Timber forward from centre back out to the right hand side. Bergwijn is such a talented player. Ajax looking to play a bit of possession football. It's back with Bassi in the centre circle, and then out to the left hand side for Wijndal, who's back to full fitness, having missed a good chunk of the start of the season. Bassi has it once more just inside his own half. Slides it forward for Tadic. Tadic tries to play that in behind Tavernier, and he might well have done so. In for Kudus, lays it back. The chance here, and it's a goal early on for Ajax. And they've caught Rangers completely unawares there. The first time they've been forward in the entire game. And Rangers caught cold at the back. And it's a dreadful start for Rangers.
Terrific ball up the side of Tavernier. I think it was onto Tadic. A little setback there. Simple as you could make it.
I mean, it's brilliant play from Ajax, but
It's
from a Rangers point of view, it is absolutely dreadful defending. Tavernier caught sleeping with the run in behind from Tadic. The ball played across square into the box. It was a lovely lay back from Kudus, just about 17 yards out, and Berghuis was there. I mean, he doesn't catch the ball cleanly at all. It's almost a miss hit, but Alan McGregor was sent the wrong way and into the bottom corner, and a nightmare start for Rangers 3 minutes in.
4 minutes on the clock now, and Steven Berghuis, as he did in Amsterdam, scores against Rangers. He got the second out there, and here they come once more. It's Alvarez nicking possession up towards the edge of the penalty area. Bergwijn now on the right hand side, blocked by Barisic behind for a corner, and Ibrox is simply stunned. As you say, Stephen, I'm not sure he entirely caught the ball as he meant to.
No, it was almost as if
both McGregor and King.
Yeah, it's almost as if his leg was caught on the take back to hit the ball, and he kind of just clipped it left, and Alan McGregor dived to his left to Berghuis' right. But a corner kick to defend now, and they've not defended these brilliantly over the course of the campaign.
No, they haven't. Berghuis from the right hand side, and it comes. Ajax head first to it, but the referee's signalled for another corner over on the far side. And Rangers on the back foot all of a sudden, having made what we thought was quite a positive start.
Yep. Absolutely, but that's all you do. You take your eye off the ball, lack of concentration. Tav, I think, caught ball watching, and a simple ball up the inside of him, and, you know, you're playing with quality players here. I know he didn't strike it well, Berghuis, but he hit the target.
And it comes to the Rangers penalty area again. Not a particularly convincing defensive header, but it's cleared out of the penalty area for now. Ajax have it once more. Ideal start for them, but absolute opposite for Rangers as the ball is threaded through. Timber again, advanced area, gets it back to Kudus. Might break for Taylor in the edge of the box, and he slices one wide. Offside flag goes up belatedly in any case, but Rangers look pretty shell-shocked by that loss of that early goal.
Yeah, it was just a simple ball in behind. In fact, Kudus didn't manage to get a good touch on it, and it was his touch that knocked it forward for the offside. I just wish the linesman had put his flag up straight away. We could all see it was offside, but play continued, and it ended up being a shot from Kenneth Taylor, which should have probably hit the target with, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway, given that it was offside.
Out by the Ajax goalkeeper, Remco Pasveer to the left-hand side. Tavernier goes back to retrieve it. He was certainly caught napping, as Mark says. The ball was played in the inside of him, and he just couldn't get back in time to stop the marauding Wijndal, finding Kudus inside the penalty area, and his layoff was perfect. Here's Tillman. It's a nice spin on the halfway line, tries to get it through for Sakala. Look at the handball on the edge of the box. The referee saw it, and I reckoned that it was off his leg onto his arm, and therefore not deliberate.
Yeah, I mean, he played the ball off his own body part onto his hand, and as we all know now, that is not a free kick.
And that allows Ajax to come forward. And it's Bergwijn for Kudus. He's halted by Arfield only momentarily though, as Alvarez picks up and now finds the goal scorer Berghuis. Taylor forward for Tadic. Tavernier chipping away at the back of his heels as Bassi picks up just inside his own half and knocks it forward for Bergwijn. Berghuis takes over, tries to chip Alan McGregor. McGregor has to backpedal and keeps it out. But another lovely effort there from Berghuis, looking for his second in the game. Rangers 0, Ajax 1.
There's confidence for you. Just picking the ball up, trying to... Oh, McGregor won't be too happy with that, trying to chip him from 45 yards.
Wasn't far away either, it was a great effort. Yeah. Had Alan backpedaling, that's for sure.
1-0 Rangers trail then. Trying to avoid the ignominy of becoming the worst ever Champions League side. Their goal difference currently equals that of Dinamo Zagreb's current worst total in 2011-2012. That was lost all 6 and a goal difference of -19. They scored 3 goals, however. Rangers have only managed 1 so far. Can they put that right? King will chase that and just about keep it in on the left touchline. Plays it square for Alan McGregor. Almost 9 played at Ibrox. And any noise you can hear is generally speaking coming from the Ajax fans. The Rangers fans rather stunned into silence by the 4th minute goal from Steven Berghuis, which was really their first foray forward. But Rangers caught cold as Davis knocks it back to McGregor on the edge of his 6-yard box. Chips out to the right hand side looking for Tavernier, who just heads it down the line. Sakala can't bring it under control. Berghuis gets it, finds Tadic. In steps Sands. Now it's Tavernier midway inside his own half, plays it forward now looking for either Tillman or Kent. Has come somewhere in between the pair of those two, and Sanchez nods it down, and Alvarez and then Berghuis pick up. Berghuis in the halfway line out to the left hand side, acres of space. Tadic comes forward, good challenge by Tavernier on that occasion, wins the ball and then manages to prevent the corner kick. Plays it down the right hand side. Arfield just gives Berghuis a little shove and then plays it off Berghuis. It will be a throw into Rangers over on the far side. 10 minutes played though, Rangers 0, Ajax 1.
Much better defending that occasion from James Tavernier, getting there and keeping the ball in play, clearing up the line to Scott Arfield, the birthday boy, and he tried to release Sakala down that right hand side. But yeah, I mean, Rangers did start the game on a positive note, a couple of forays forward, but since then they've not really managed to string too many passes together or get up into Ajax's final third. And the goal you can see is just giving Ajax a lift in confidence.
Well, that's the quality that they bring, Tomo. You know, you just leave the door half open and they will step through that door and they'll put you on your backside.
Here come Rangers. Bassi trying to get back there, and he does manage to clear out for a throw-in over on the far side with both Arfield and Cholak looking to get on the end of Sakala's header forward. It was a bit better from Rangers as they look to come back into the game. Alfred Schroeder and Giovanni van Bronckhorst both standing on the edge of their technical areas down below us, keeping a close eye on proceedings here. Arfield forward for Sakala down the right hand side. Sakala into the penalty area now, dancing between a couple of players, and then he just runs into Tadic, who dispossesses him, and Bergwijn gets it back to Tadic. And Ajax will be also dangerous on the counter if Rangers try and commit players forward. That's been knocked out of play though. Kent looking to take the quick throw in deep in his own half, plays it to Leon King, and now Davis midway inside his own half, tries the diagonal looking for Kent. It was a poor one, but Sanchez equally poorly heads it out of play just down in the halfway line, and a throw in to be taken by Borna Barisic with 11 played at Ibrox. 1-0 to the Dutch. He scored early in Amsterdam, but Rangers weren't able to recover from that. I found it got a whole lot worse. There's Arfield sweeping it forward. Sakala again first to it, tracked by Bassi. Laid back by Tillman to Davis. And now Barisic out to Kent. Sanchez backs off him, encourages Kent to run at him down the left-hand side for Rangers. Goes one way then the other, inside he comes. Can he get the shot away? It's Tillman instead. Tillman feigns the shoot, can't find the room for the shot, and eventually Alvarez comes away with possession, but why oh why Did Malik Tillman not pull the trigger there?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Made half a yard for himself. Good little run from Kent. Nice to see. Just dropped his shoulder, took it onto his right foot. It was on, but then tried to drag it back and get complicated. So
yeah, just need to go for it sometimes.
Yeah, he was trying too much. I thought it was Kent could have hit it as well when he came onto his right. Opened up for a wee half a second, but his pass into Tillman was decent, and he really should have opened up and hit a shot. He was just trying to be over clever, I think, on the ball, and he was closed down within seconds, right in the edge of the box.
1-0 Ajax then. 13 minutes played at Ibrox. A bit better from Rangers on a couple of occasions since then. Here's Barisic coming forward, midway inside the Ajax half, out to the left for Kent. Kent up against Sanchez, about 15 yards from the goal line. He's away from him. Edge of the box, stands up to the back post. In comes Sakala, saved on the line. And it was Calvin Bassey, of all people, who was on the line to prevent Sakala's header crossing for the equaliser. Here's King picking up, trying to come forward, knocks it back to Tavernier just inside the Ajax half. Out to the left it comes, looking for Kent. Can Kent keep it in? Yes, he does. Up against Sanchez. Might feel he's got the beating of him. Back it goes to Barisic. Barisic sends it in, just skipped by Čolak. All the way out to the far side to Sakala, who was denied a moment ago. Here he comes. It's a second bite of the cross. Back to Tavernier it goes. Into the feet now of Tillman, right hand side of the penalty area, trying to get away from Taylor to the back, and he goes off Taylor for the corner. But Rangers so close to an equaliser just a moment ago.
better stuff. Good work from Kent here, just hanging the ball up there. Sakala getting on the end of it. Good clearance off the line. But best play now, I think best part of the game right now for Rangers. 5 or 6 minutes camped in Ajax half.
Corner kick from the right hand side. Will be taken by the captain James Tavernier as Rangers search for the equaliser. Beating everyone in that penalty area. It comes out as far as Taylor, who heads only to Stephen Davis, and it's back with King. And now Tavernier again out on the right hand side. Plays a little 1-2 with Davis, then into the penalty. It's just beyond Čolak, and then Arfield can't get there. And the offside flag was up against Čolak in any event, and it will remain after a quarter of an hour at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Ajax 1.
What a ball in that was. I mean, that was a sensational ball. A wee 1-2 on the far side between Davis and Tavernier, and he didn't let it take a touch. He hit it on the kind of volley out wide, and really there's no reason for Čolak to have been offside. It was a fantastic ball. Čolak's only inches away from getting his foot on it.
Just seen a rerun of the Sakala header, and in all honesty, I'm not sure it was actually going on target before Bassey headed it clear. He was maybe a yard or two off his line as it happened. It seemed to me like he was more right on the line to keep it out, but television replays suggesting perhaps otherwise. Nonetheless, an important intervention from the former Rangers defender. James Sands taking a bit of a chance with a kind of scissors challenge there on an Ajax player, but he gets away with it as Ajax still have possession out to the left-hand side. It's Tadic. It has been an open game so far, certainly, which we rather expected. I think Richard Foster might have been hoping for a more pragmatic approach from Rangers, but they've been committing players forward. 16 minutes in. Here's Tillman trying to turn away from Alvarez, and he wins a free kick.
It's a couple of those he's had in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I like the way he does that.
Yeah.
You know, uses his backside, gets the defender right into him, turns him, drops him, goes low centre of gravity.
Here's Sands on the edge of his penalty area for King, out to the left-hand side to Barisic. Barisic still midway inside his own half. Thought about going forward. Closed down by Bergwijn. It has to go back to King, who in turn has to go back to McGregor as he was closed down by Kudus. McGregor fires it long. That'll be comfortable for Bassey, although Sakala will try and close him down. Back it goes to the goalkeeper. Plays coolly out to Timber. He's closed down by Arfield, with just too much pressure on Timber there from Arfield. Fouled him and concedes the free kick.
Got away there with Timber, I thought. You know, Scotty just getting in over keen to get in and close him down. Just give him a couple of seconds.
He didn't need to commit there, did he?
Because he's running nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, they were facing their own goal in their own 18-yard line, and Rangers had a good press on. Probably shouldn't have made the commitment to make the tackle. He was going nowhere.
Rangers' response to losing the early goal has been good. Davis tried to thread it through for Arfield, but Bassey read it on the edge of his own penalty area. And here comes Kudus trying to get away from Sands on the halfway line. The American international sticking with him, but the pass comes back to Alvarez. Alvarez threads it for Sanchez, right-hand side. Barisic needs to get across to try and cut him down. In comes the cross. In any case, Sands heads it away out to the left-hand side. And picked up by Wijndal. And now Tadic back for Taylor, just outside the penalty area on the left-hand side. Sakala back, trying to help out his defence. It's Taylor closed down well by Sakala. A good play by Sakala. Then he's dragged back. It'll be a Rangers free kick and a yellow for the Ajax player, Kenneth Taylor. And that was all about the tenacity and will to win the ball back there from Sakala.
That's what we're looking for. That's what the fans are looking for.
Yeah,
big roar. Yeah, big roar as soon as that went for Rangers. Yeah, well, that's what they've got to be doing now. No time for any Ajax player on the ball. Not 1 second.
The response has been pretty decent, Stephen.
It has been, yeah. I mean, you know, I said before the match that Rangers had been losing goals in clusters, and when they lost one, generally they lost another one reasonably quickly after it. But the response has been good, and they've been trying to be purposeful and get forward with their play and trying to pick up second balls.
Tavernier was looking for Tillman over the top there. Bassey again read it well. Clearance falls to Bergwijn, closed down by Barisic. Manages to find Bassey though. Bassey tracked by Čolak. Still has it though, the Nigerian international. Tadic then back the way for Wijndal, left back. He started the first 3 matches of the season. This is his first since then, having been out for a spell with injury. And replacing Daley Blint, who has come in for a bit of criticism along with Calvin Bassey in the defence. The two were interchanged actually. Bassey moving to left back and Blint to centre back for a few games after a barrage of criticism from the Dutch media and pundits there. But Bassey's back in the centre of defence and Blint on the bench tonight. Out for a throw into Rangers on the far side. They're right. Almost 20 minutes on the clock. They trailed by a goal to nil. It came in 4 minutes from Steven Berghuis. Delicate chip, which, whether he meant it or not, fooled Alan McGregor and Leon King. And ended up in the back of the net. There's no force to it whatsoever, but somehow found its way past both Rangers players. And that's the only goal of the game.
It's just another moment when Rangers switched off, and if you go back over a lot of their goals throughout this campaign, it's been those wee individual errors, lapses in concentration that have just cost them. And it was Tavernier on this occasion who just allowed the ball inside him. He was always second best after that.
Tavernier's to take a throw in over on the far side, midway inside the Ajax half, gets it back from Arfield, and then back for Davis. He'll have to turn back the way onto the halfway line though, to Sands, and then to King midway inside his own half. He'll step forward slightly and then play out to the left hand side to Barisic. Barisic slides it forward for Kent. Kent trying to turn away from Sanchez. He hits the deck and in steps Bergwijn and finds Sanchez once more. Bergwijn, stocky little player, so tricky with the ball. Back it goes to Timber on the edge of his own penalty area, and now back with the goalkeeper Remco Pasveer, who will hope to make the Dutch World Cup squad. He is in the 39-man provisional squad at the age of 38. He became the second oldest Dutch player to make his international debut just recently. Played both games in the Nations League against Poland and Belgium, and could well have played himself into contention to feature in Qatar. Here's Barisic, who will also hope to be there for Croatia. And it's a poor bit of control from Jurriën Timber there at the expense of a corner. Tried to bring the ball under control from Barisic's long searching ball, and under pressure from Čolak, it's out for a corner kick to Rangers left hand side.
Nothing wrong with that straight ball, you know, over the top, getting your defenders running back, picking up on a mistake. Here you go, corner ball into the box.
Which will be taken by Barisic, who has been criticised at times for going backwards when he could go forward too often, and that was certainly doing the opposite, and he's won his side a corner effectively. Here he is taking it, swings it deep, headed away by Alvarez. It will come to Tavernier, takes a touch, then a second one into Arfield, who tried to link with him, and the header is cleared away, and Ajax will try and come forward through Bergwijn. Bergwijn getting the better over there of Sands, but King's in there to clear up to the halfway line, but forward still come Ajax. It's Tadic. He has Sanchez in support on the right hand side. He'll just cool things down though and play it back to Alvarez, and then it's knocked forward, but too much on it for Wijndal, the left back, trying to come forward, and it's behind for a goal kick to Rangers. Midway point in the first period, it's Rangers 0, Ajax 1, but Rangers have certainly come back into the game since losing the early goal. They can be fairly pleased with the way they have reacted. Stephen, you were concerned about the losing goals in clusters, and that didn't happen, at least after the loss of the first goal. But Tillman runs into trouble, coughs it up to Berghuis. The Bergwijn links once more with Berghuis down the right hand side up against Barisic, teases it forward. It's Sanchez forward, well blocked there by King, and then it came back off Sanchez last, and behind for a goal kick to Rangers. 23.5 on the clock. Rangers 0, Ajax 1.
Really good move that from Ajax out on this right hand side. A lovely run from Berghuis, and just slipped in at the touchline. His cut back, he couldn't manage to pick anybody out. It was forced behind. I thought it was a corner, but it must have come off of the Dutch player last.
Here's Tavernier, right hand side for Rangers. Forward for Sakala. Oh, he was dragged back there by Wijndal as he slipped the ball past him, and it will be a free kick to Rangers in the halfway line. He's looked pretty lively, Sakala.
Yeah, he's looked sharp, there's no doubt about it. He really has.
Certainly had to wait for his chance this season under Giovanni van Bronckhorst, and despite being a pretty ebullient character, I think he was disappointed the way things had been going, but he's managed to play himself into contention. Here's Kent on the left hand side, linking with Barisic. Can he get the cross away? He has to go back to Kent. Now Davis. Kent once more, left hand side for Rangers. Barisic for Kent once more, still midway inside the Ajax half. Comes onto the right foot, feigns to send the ball forward, then looks to play the 1-2 with Davis. Davis just holds on to it and will be ushered back the way by Ajax, and it's quickly closed down there by Kudus. King having to go back to his keeper, and Rangers from a pretty promising position out in the left wing, forced all the way back. I wonder if that's just a little bit of a lack of confidence between Kent and Barisic on this left hand side, as Sands brings it forward and finds Sakala on the right up against Wijndal. In for Arfield. Arfield trying to get away from Bassi, and then Cholak couldn't make anything of it, and Pasveer dives in the loose ball at the edge of his 6-yard box. A bit of a miscommunication there between Arfield and Cholak, and it ends up safely in the arms of the Ajax keeper. 25 in, Rangers 0, Ajax 1.
Decent play again from Sakala on the right hand side, plays the ball square into Arfield, and he was hoping to just get a touch away and hit the shot, and then his touch was too heavy and Cholak couldn't get onto it before Pasveer smothered it.
Ajax playing their way out of the penalty area. 55% possession for Rangers in these opening stages, and it's not too often I think Ajax are the team with less possession in the game. Here they are with the ball just now though, and it's Edson Alvarez out to Bergwijn, gets it back from Sanchez, and now it's Timber, and Sanchez in so much room down the right hand side, can pick out a cross here. Tadic at the edge of the penalty area. Can he pick out a teammate now at the back post? He's looking for Wijndal. Wijndal rises back into the penalty area. It comes off Arfield for a corner kick. Rangers survive that one, but sometimes they look so exposed, Mark Haitley.
Yeah, I think this right hand side, Kent is going in the way instead of coming and letting that go in and just keeping on this left hand side. It's
Leon,
too easy. It's dragging Leon King right out the middle of the park to cover that run on this side. So I think Kent just needs to just go with his runner and not run into the middle of the pitch.
Corner kick left hand side taken by Tadic. Up there went Alvarez. He got something on it. Again, the referee signals for another corner, again from the left hand side. And again will be taken by the skipper Dusan Tadic. Left-footed from the left-hand side, another outswinger, and it comes. Alvarez again is in there. Again, I think that came off a Rangers head this time. The referee,
looked it, didn't it?
The referee thinks otherwise and awards the goal kick. I think that's pretty much all three that have come into the box. The referees thought it went differently to the way I did, but Rangers will take the goal kick regardless. 27 in, 1-0 to Ajax. The early goal from Steven Berghuis. Here's Kent under pressure from Sanchez. Back to Barisic. Barisic back to King. Forces him back into his penalty area. King tries to switch play for Tavernier. He's given that straight to Tadic. Inside the box, it's dummied by Berghuis. Bergwijn now. Taylor with a shot, smothered by Alan McGregor. And Rangers, and particularly Leon King, get away with one there. Still 1-0.
Yeah, it was the first pass back to him from Barisic, wasn't the best, and it put him under severe pressure. He goes for the big switch and gets it all wrong. It lands at Tadic's feet, plays it into the box. It's a lovely over, I think it was, from Bergwijn, and then really the shot was incredibly timid. Really should have put his foot through it, and comfortable for Al McGregor, but a big let off.
Here they come again. Wijndal, can he keep that in? He cuts it back, and it's Kudus with the opportunity. 8 yards out. It's in. Ajax have got a second, and it's Mohamed Kudus who doubles the advantage at Ibrox, and it's looking grim for Rangers. It's Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, just seconds after the first big let-off, the ball looked as though it was going to go out on the byline, and it was a really good play to keep it in. And then Kudus, I think it's deflected on its way in. We're going to wait for the replay. Yeah. But he spins, hits a shot, and I think it's a wicked deflection into the back of the net. And really, that's Rangers under massive pressure. 28 minutes gone after them having looked comfortable since Ajax scored their first, and really it's a long way back from this now.
Deflection off King, I think.
Yeah, King's head, just trying to block it, just trying to get something in the way of it, and all it does is take it past Alan McGregor. I think it will go down as a Kudus goal, but
yeah,
it was
going on target.
deflection.
It is. I mean, he's unfortunate. He's just trying to get anything in front of it, and it skiffs off the top of his head and goes past Alan McGregor. And that's 2 goals now that have kind of been past Alan McGregor without him really being able to make any sort of attempt at a save.
Well, it's tough on Rangers, isn't it? Because they've been in the game, but this is the level you're talking about, Mark, where it's every slip, every moment like that seems to be punished.
Yeah, quality will punish you. But as you said, Rangers 50-odd%. But what's Pasveer had to do? He has no saves to make at the moment. He has a couple of crosses to come and collect. So all that possession that Rangers did, they had a spell of about 10 minutes in the middle to attack in third, but nothing to worry a goalkeeper.
Poor header from Tillman puts Davis in trouble. Tadic and Kudus win possession for Ajax. Then it's given away though, and Tavernier can come forward down the right hand side. Half an hour played. Rangers 0, Ajax 2. Bassey across there on the far side to tidy things up. Here he is just inside his own penalty area. Poor pass though for Timber. Kent picks up, finds Tillman into the box. Across comes Bassey to try and atone for that error. Tillman asking a lot there of Barisic to keep it in. Bassey blocks the attempted cross, and Barisic has stayed down. This is the last thing Rangers need, is another injury to a defender. He's still off the park, down in the little drainage area.
Didn't look like there was too much in it, unless he slipped as he came off. There's a slight kind of camber down towards the advertising
holding
boards.
his ankle, I think.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst looks
It didn't look like there was much wrong with him, to be fair. Just get up and get on with it.
Well, he's still hobbling somewhat. There's too much on the back heel from Tillman, really, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, maybe just jolts it as he comes into the advertising boardings, but he'll be all right. But you're right, Rangers cannot afford too many more injuries.
Here's Cholak for Tillman. Rangers really need to step up. They cannot afford to capitulate again in the Champions League. As Tavernier has it, right hand side, looking for Tillman. Alvarez there before him though, and Ajax will look to spring the counter. Bergwijn out to the left hand side. Tadic. Bergwijn again. Bergwijn with a chance here. McGregor with a save. Pushes it away to his left for a corner. And Rangers survive, going 3 behind. And you know what this means as well, Stephen? They need 7 to go through.
Yeah, I think you can forget that now, but again, it's far too easy from Ajax's point of view. The way they cut through Rangers.
As well.
Yeah, there's been a lot down that right-hand side. another corner to defend here, and it could be an in-swinger.
Berghuis, left-footed from the right-hand side, tamely into the arms of Alan McGregor. And the Rangers fans urging Alan McGregor to go long, looking for the run of Kent's. Too much on it. It's going to go all the way through to Remco Pasveer in the Ajax goal, and he'll bowl it out for Steven Bergwijn. Ajax haven't had a lot to cheer about in the Champions League this season, but they've enjoyed their games against Rangers by the looks of it. Here's Dusan Tadic, left-hand side, keeps it in. Tavernier trying to stick with him, gets a good foot in, the Rangers skipper, and knocks out for a throw-in over on the far side. 2-0 Rangers trail, 33 minutes played. And Ajax fans, must be what, 3,000 or so of them over in the far corner, and it's them who've had plenty to cheer about in the opening stages here. The rest of the crowd almost silenced. Here's Tillman, picks up, tries to clip it over the top for Kent, but back goes Sanchez. But you're right, Stephen, it was a dreadful attempt to pass.
You get a really good opportunity for a counter-attack, but it's not that difficult a pass. It's basically, oops.
Sakala and Tillman almost robbing Bassey. Tillman claiming he was clipped there by Bassey as he went inside the penalty. It didn't look like it particularly.
It was close though. It was close.
Bassey just taking a chance. This time he knocks it back to his goalkeeper, who plays it out to Alvarez, who gets it back once more from Bassey. Alvarez keeps things ticking over in the middle of the park. Disappointed to see a move to Chelsea break down in the summer, and Ajax keen not to lose yet another top talent, but I think he's still impressing the top teams out there. I wouldn't be too surprised if he eventually moves for big money, the Mexican midfielder. And Stephen Davis working hard in the midfield to win it back. Kent now, good tracking back, this time by Berghuis, and not only has he won possession, he's won inside a throw-in just inside the Ajax half. 34.5 on the clock, and Rangers 2 goals down. Berghuis and Kudus, both of whom scored against Rangers in Amsterdam, and both back in the score sheet against them tonight, as Rangers seem destined for a 6th successive Champions League defeat. And as things stand, it is dependent on how things go between Barcelona and Victoria Pilsen tonight as well. But at the moment, they are destined to become the worst ever Champions League side. As Ajax come forward again, Barisic's there on the edge of his penalty. He gets the header semi-clear, picked up by Sanchez, though. Back comes Kent to try and close him down. Out it comes to Berghuis into Bergwijn at the edge of the penalty area. Arfield trying to stick with him. Ajax so good at manipulating the ball, moving it quickly. Alvarez now back just inside the Rangers half. Back it goes to Bassey inside the centre circle. Short ball to Tadic, who's come deep. Closed down by Davis. Rangers forcing Ajax back. 10 minutes of the first period left. Rangers 0, Ajax 2. As it's back to the keeper, Pasveer, who up to the halfway line plays it to Bergwijn, so strong, holds it off and finds Kudus, and then it's back with Alvarez. And Ajax certainly dominating possession in the last 10 minutes or so as Bassey waves Sanchez forward down the right hand side, then goes back in field to Alvarez. Alvarez just inside his own half plays a short ball to Berghuis, the man who opened the scoring after just 4 minutes. Bergwijn and then Timber played a couple of 1-2s between themselves over on the left hand side. Ajax thoroughly enjoying themselves now. Here's Bergwijn in for Tadic, 25 yards from goal, across to Sanchez just on the edge of the penalty area, right hand side. Back it comes to Tadic, closed down by Tillman, still gets the pass off to Alvarez. Alvarez thinks about the shot 25 yards out, then threads it to Kudus. Kudus gets the shot away just wide of Alan McGregor's left hand post, and it just looks so easy for Ajax to pick their passes, pick their way through the defence, and you can hear the boos from the home fans who do not like to see their team on the back foot.
Yeah, they're just toying with Rangers back foot there. Defensive midfield players, ball very close to feet, quick passing, little 1-2s, ended up with a wisping shot right across the face of Alan McGregor's goal, just missing the far post.
There's so much quality in their build-up play, though there really is. I mean, yes, Rangers can defend the situations better, but their movement off the ball, the way they control the ball, manipulate it, pass it quickly, it's
they want the ball when they're marked as well. They're up against players, so just give me the ball, I'll deal with it, and then off they go again.
Yeah, very confident in possession, aren't they? 7.5 minutes of the first half left. Rangers just need to get something back before half time to try and get the fans on side. At the moment it's given away by McGregor, and that brings groans from the home stands as Kudus and Tadic link up once more. Tadic out to the left hand side for Wijndal, just touches it back for Bergwijn. Now Bassey. Bergwijn once more on the left hand side. Rangers just can't get close to Ajax right now. There was a period there between the first goal and the second goal where Rangers were well in the game and arguably on top, looking for the equaliser, but since the second's gone in, they have just fallen right out of it. Here's Sakala though, picking up possession on the right hand side. Alvarez and Wijndal trying to stick with him. Still Sakala towards the goal line he goes. Can't get the cross in, it comes back to Tavernier. Bassey with the clearance, and then Tillman runs into the referee just to make things worse for Rangers, and Ajax can come clear, and it's Kudus picking up, and then Tillman looks frustrated, comes back at Kudus, almost fouling him. Kudus still has possession. Back towards his own goal it goes to Bassey.
Yeah, Tillman did run into the referee, but then spent the next 4 seconds trying to win an Oscar. Just got on with the game.
Here's Timber midway inside his own half, plays it square for Bassey. Bassey closed in by Cholak, who's not been able to get involved in the game at all. Alvarez now for Ajax, just outside the centre circle in his own half, plays it for Timber, who likes to get forward from centre back. A good football player, and another who seems destined for big things. Rangers have won it back though. Cholak for Arfield, out to Sakala right hand side. 5.5 minutes left of the first half. Rangers 0, Ajax 2. Tavernier infield for Davis. Davis back to Tavernier. Rangers just finding it difficult to get forward, find any meaningful passes into the Ajax final third. Here's Barisic now left hand side for Rangers. Wanted it back from Kent. Kent spins away from Sanchez. That's a bit better from the winger. Then he feeds Barisic. Barisic with a chance to cross. Back post ball, in comes Sakala, and it's well defended by Wijndal. Knocked out for a corner before Sakala could get there. Just a little bit better from Rangers on that occasion.
Some good stuff coming in on this left hand side. Just need people to get on the end of it. A difficult one. Good defending at the far post. Another incident with the boards.
Yeah, is it Wijndal who?
Wijndal, I think it is.
Who went down with a defensive header, and as he rushed in at that back post, he just went into the advertising hoardings down that little dip, little gully that's there for drainage purposes, and he's given himself a sore one. Rangers probably feel they should be able to get on with things here as he's off the field of play, and the Rangers fans certainly want that to happen. The referee not allowing that to happen just yet. Antonio Cholak having a word with the referee about it. Giovanni van Bronckhorst speaking to the fourth official, presumably to the same effect. Wijndal still down, receiving attention off the park, and Rangers want to get on with the corner kick on the right hand side with 4 minutes left. They've taken the corner now, play it short. It's Davis swinging it into the penalty area. It comes all the way to the back post. Arfield, can he flash it back across goal? Great challenge by Alvarez, and his offside flag goes up to deny Rangers even the corner.
I think it was Scotty Arfield. I think he was having a drink. He picked a drink up there and dropped it.
It's difficult to see from that angle if it is offside, but then it takes him an eternity to hit it. It just wouldn't come down for him, and it is a fabulous challenge in the end to block him. Finidal's still off.
Yeah, it's still being treated behind the Ajax goal, but they will have a free kick for offside against Scott Arfield too.
Was my pronunciation wrong there? Wijndal.
Wijndal, I think it's Wijndal. I'm not going to pick you up on Dutch pronunciations, not being an expert myself. I was just pleased I didn't have to do them in front of our Dutch journalist colleague earlier on when Richard asked me to do the teams. But Ajax certainly on top here at Ibrox. 3 minutes left of the first period. Sakala, as Rangers look to try and reduce the arrears before the interval. Good challenge, Bassey on the far side. It will be a Rangers corner down near the corner flag. Wijndal certainly given himself a sore one over behind the goal. Still being treated, and they might have to think about a change. Alfred Schroeder looking back into his dugout there from the edge of his technical area. Tavernier picks up right hand side, closed down by Bassey once more. There's going to be a change. It's a straight change. Kerry, our reporter, can bring us news of it.
Yeah, Wrench just about to come on. He has been in agony at Vindal, seen a couple of reruns as well, not able to continue at all, and Wrench will be the man coming on just before half time. Fine
Wrench, who started out in Amsterdam against Rangers, as Sands comes forward, feeds Sakala, right hand side, low ball in. Alvarez there at the near post once again to clear. Taylor helping him out with that one, but Alvarez in that holding midfield role, he just seems to read the game so well, always there to cut out danger.
Yeah, he's an absolutely brilliant player, he really is. Sniffs the danger out, but his composure on the ball as well is
slim and elegant. He looks, very good player.
Here's Sakala, right hand side, tries to knock the ball into the penalty area once again. Again, Bassey's in the way of that one. Here's the chance for Ajax to make the change, and Vindal certainly in a good deal of discomfort there as he's being helped round the pitch.
Why is he not on a stretcher? Would be one question. You know, he's been carried round by a couple of the medical staff, but if it's that bad, you should probably have a stretcher around there taking him off on that. He really is hobbling quite badly, trying to make his way up to the dugout.
Ajax back to the full complement of 11 players, and they have possession. It's Kudus, and they're here in the counter-attack, and it's Alvarez. Tillman trying to catch him. He's just forced slightly out to the right-hand side, and then Tillman puts the challenge in. Oh, it's a dodgy challenge.
No, I think he wants the ball.
That's the ball there,
Well,
I think he got a toenail on it.
Just thought he took a chance.
He did.
By making the challenge when he didn't necessarily have to, but if he got the ball, then it's certainly a good challenge. And then he's taken down himself on the halfway line. I just thought he gave the referee an opportunity there to make the decision, and of course VAR were able to have a look at it as it was in the penalty area, but another dangerous counter from Ajax.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for the poor touch from Alvarez, then he'd have been able to get a shot off and goal. It was a fabulous counter-attack, great ball through to him, but he just kind of ran out of steam a wee bit, and then his poor first touch didn't set him for the shot.
Just singing Alvarez's praises there just before that. We had a shocking touch.
Yeah, I don't think that's his absolute forte, is it?
No.
Being the furthest man forward, but in most other aspects of his play, he's been pretty much faultless. 2 minutes of added on time to be played. Some of the Rangers fans just getting a little bit annoyed with their team's performance here. It hasn't been all bad, but as they just always have found themselves trailing in the Champions League against opponents who are just of a different level.
Yeah, they've had possession in the right areas, but just failed to have any sort of impact on the opponent's goal.
Yeah, they've not tested the goalkeeper
not
at all.
Pasveer's
been very, very comfortable, and yeah, there's been a couple of decent crosses come into the box, but just not getting on the end of it. Probably only the Sakala header, which I think was probably going wide anyway. Out with that, really untroubled, despite actually getting decent numbers into the Ajax final third without really causing too much problems.
Here's Kudus, scorer of the second goal. I think it'll be credited to him. Pretty sure it was on target, despite a massive deflection off the head of Lee Young King. Forward come Ajax, looking for a third before half-time. It's Wrench immediately in the action, and there's the chance. It's a cross goal, and that should have been turned in. It's going to be a corner kick, but both Berghuis and Kudus had the chance to score. Neither of them could get the final crucial touch, and behind it goes for a corner, let off for Rangers.
Again down Rangers' right hand side. The speed of the attack's absolutely brilliant, the quality of the play. Here's a corner
quickly taken between Bergwijn and Berghuis. Berghuis stands it to the back post. Alvarez back across goal, and tamely behind on that occasion, thankfully for Rangers. Deep into injury time, Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Yeah, it's a massive chance for Kudus there.
Goalless at Anfield at half-time. Kudus, we're just seeing a replay of that chance earlier on. He should have turned that in for a third goal for Ajax, and that would have been almost too much for Rangers to bear as it is. Well, you can hear the boos ringing round Ibrox. Again, they've seen their side outclassed in the Champions League, falling behind early doors. Steven Berghuis found himself in possession at the edge of the penalty area after a layoff from Kudus. James Tavernier caught napping as the ball was played in behind him. And the layoff from Kudus allowed Berghuis just to chip the ball delicately. Not entirely sure if it's what he meant or otherwise, but one way or the other, he fooled Alan McGregor and Leon King, who both couldn't keep the ball from crossing the line, and that was 1-0 Ajax. Berghuis tried again, another audacious chip. A few minutes later, Alan McGregor able to backpedal and keep that one out. Sakala had a header cleared off the line by Calvin Bassey. May or may not have been heading into the net before Taylor at the end had a shot saved. And just before the half hour, Wijndal got to a cutback before it crossed the goal line. And there was Kudus with a shot deflected in off the head of Leon King to make it 2-0 to Ajax. Bergwijn denied by McGregor shortly afterwards, and they could have had a third just before the interval as well, but Kudus unable to connect. Glenn Kamara has already begun his warm-up at half-time, as it looks like he might come on in the second period, but Rangers really have it all to do if they're to avoid this dreaded tag of worst ever Champions League side. At half-time at Ibrox, it's Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Rangers in the Champions League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
What a strike! What a goal from Rangers!
Well, sadly for Rangers, the bare facts are that as things stand, the live table, if you like, would show Rangers as, indeed, the worst team ever in the group stages of the Champions League. They're being run pretty close by Pilsen, who are also in action and also 2-0 down at home at half-time to Barcelona. They are currently 3 scored, 22 against, a goal difference of plus 19, which is exactly...
Minus 19.
Sorry, minus 19, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Which is exactly what the worst ever team currently, Dinamo Zagreb, managed in 2011-12. Rangers, of course, just 1 goal scored, and that goal difference of minus 20, which would have them a new entry at number 1, which they'll be clearly very, very hopeful, determined to avoid making any worse in the second half. What have you made of it, Richard Foster?
I think Rangers have had spells where they've been okay. You heard the guys in commentary talking about, good kind of possession in the Ajax final third, not tested the goalkeeper at all. Fantastic cross in from Kent, and Sakala should score. Well, he should at least hit the target. We can see on the TV that his header's actually going wide if Bassey leaves it, which obviously he's never going to do. But defensively, in midfield and defence, they've been so open. Ajax are a decent side. They're not a great side. They're good. They move the ball really quickly. Their movement off the ball is good. And you see, one of the things that Tom spoke about before the game is Rangers not being able to deal with movement off the ball. And I'm a big fan of James Tavernier, but for the first goal, the guy just runs in behind him. It's not a complicated run. It's something that you should be aware of. You should be in a position where you can see him coming.
It's okay, we're fine.
We're fine.
It's just that Ibrox have
Ibrox disappeared. As will many of their fans, I would imagine, at half-time. Yeah, and it's poor defensively, but there's gaps all over the place. And they're not... has any Rangers player made a tackle? Has there anyone got a booking? Has anyone tried to put their foot in and disrupt Ajax? Because Ajax are very good when they get the ball moving, and like I say, the wide players, one of them will come in and one stays wide, and the striker gets involved in the game, and they're very good at what they do. But they, there are opportunities for Rangers to play when they get on the ball, but they've done okay, but they just haven't done enough to breach the Ajax defence. And we were watching it there at the end of the half, and Ajax are cruising. They're just knocking the ball about. They've got another couple of gears if they want to. And every time they break forward, it looks like they created another chance right before half time, and it probably should be 3-0. So it's just another real kind of lacklustre nothing performance from Rangers.
We talked to Alan McGregor. He's made one very good save. You're right, it could have been 3, 4, 5 in the first 45 minutes, and the one, well, it was the cross, but it was also that, and that was a real chance for Sakala. Actually, he has to get that on target at the very least, doesn't he? I mean, and that quite soon after the goal gets Rangers back in level terms, and maybe just changes things. Yeah,
and we've seen it. Last season when Rangers score at Ibrox in Europe, the roof comes off. The atmosphere would have been incredible. They'd have got a huge boost from that, and it's a lovely cross hung up from Ryan Kent, and he's running onto it. He sees it coming from the whole way. Great, great athleticism to get up there, and you just think he's just going to power it towards goal, but he gets it all wrong. And I mean, from that position, there's no way he's trying to head it back across goal. He's trying to go for goal. He just gets it wrong. And but that sums up Rangers in an attacking sense. You know, good up until a point, and then just kind of blunt. You know, Cholak's not really been involved, not really got him in the game. Scott Arfield's tried. Davis has tried in midfield, but they're kind of getting overrun a little bit in the middle of the pitch because, like I say, Ajax formation is so fluid, you know, and players kind of drop into spaces and move out of spaces, and they do it really well. You can tell that they're well drilled, they're good quality players. But like I say, I think that's probably the best word I can think of to describe Rangers, apart from lacklustre, is just blunt in attack, because Ryan Kent again is flat to deceive. There's a time there where he gets the ball and he's got 40 yards behind the fullback, and I'm just thinking, just knock it out your feet and run him and see if he's quick enough to deal with you, because you know Kent off the mark is very quick, but he does that where he keeps touching the ball, cuts inside to where bodies are. I think they end up fashioning a little half chance, but go and just get at your man on the outside 1v1, give him something to think about, so the next time he's like, you know, he's backing off you because he thinks this guy's got the beating of me, but he never really does enough. You know, he's just coasting through the game. He does okay. He does little flashes. I mean, he sets up Sakala's chance. Great cross. But he's got that. He should be doing that, you know, 7 times out of 10. And currently he's doing it twice out of 10. You know, it's just not enough from him. And Rangers need more from everyone. But you know, I'm just kind of watching back the first goal, and it's a mishit. It's fantastic play by Ajax, but it's so easy. And I think Leon King just actually leaves the ball.
It's one of those where you often see a goalkeeper, as far as he's concerned, the ball's going wide, he just steps aside and opens his arms to allow. And Leon King's actually done that.
He thinks the ball's going wide, 100%. Watching that back there, he thinks that ball's going wide, and he actually leaves it. He could block that.
Yeah, comfortably. Meantime, Alan McGregor's going the wrong way in his line, his backside.
I think because of the way it's not struck cleanly, is it? He mishits it. I think he hurt his knee as well at the time, but. It's that, watching that back, that instead of Sakala's chance, that sums up Rangers in the Champions League. That decision making to leave a ball. Now, you're a defender, unless you are 100% sure you block that. Look at Bassett up the other end. He doesn't know, so he heads it away. You can't just let it through you and hope it goes wide. That's incredible defending, watching that back. But that, in the Champions League, that sums Rangers up. That kind of such poor decision making.
I think what we have seen across the 45 minutes, Tom, where you picked up on Giovanni van Bronckhorst and his attitude beforehand, some of the things he was saying in terms of his the comparing Ajax and Rangers. One thing he got right was that Ajax have spent an awful lot more money and are an awful lot better than Rangers, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's fairly obvious. You know, I was out at the game over in the Netherlands. Ajax haven't played as well as they did that night. They were absolutely magnificent that night in terms of their passing and movement, and Rangers were like really bad. They did not get up the pitch. At least in this game they have managed to get up the pitch, but the lack of quality at this level in the final thirds just shown up yet again. And then both of the goals, I mean, I think you look at the first goal, defensively switching off from the ball inside Tavernier to then the ball at the edge of the box without a block. The second goal, I mean, it's good play again from Ajax, but did they get tight enough to Kudus in the box to stop him being able to turn and get his shot off on goal? All right, it's a wicked deflection off of young Leon King, but I don't think you can look at those 2 goals, but then
honestly, we just watched that again, and I hadn't realised just how bad the defending was in terms of the
there's 3 or 4 seconds, Tomo. And King's just stood planted watching the ball.
Yeah,
he needs to travel. You know, it's just physics. If you move forward, the ball might hit you and go back.
I mean, I don't know. There is no, there is no danger for him to be standing there still for. So therefore, you're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
not
got
covering
to go and attack the ball.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be wrong to kind of single out a young player that's been thrown into the deep end for that goal. I think there was other aspects of it. Sakala doesn't match the run, etc. But you look at the other chances within the game, and you mentioned the one that Alan McGregor has a great save from Bergwijn. Again, very easy. Then the Kudus shot he dragged wide on 36 minutes was a really good chance, and then that Kudus one at the back post just before the half-time whistle. So you're right, and at times it did look like towards the latter stages of the half that Ajax were just very, very comfortable, kind of almost enjoying their evening. It shouldn't be that way away from home in the Champions League, especially at a kind of ground like this where the supporters can play their part. But you heard the fans at half time, and they're not happy with what they've seen. And I mean, it's not telling us anything we didn't already know.
No.
And it's the same scenario that I've watched in all 6 of the games that we've covered, and I don't know why. It's like every one I've gone into thinking, right, maybe there'll be something different here in this one, or maybe there'll be.
Well, they can still win 7-2.
Ever the optimist.
Well, you're kind of looking, thinking, right, maybe it'll click here or something. It's just not happened, and it isn't going to happen, and that's just been the story of it's been the story of their Champions League campaign.
Right, elsewhere at half-time, Napoli 0, Liverpool 0 at Anfield, of course. So Napoli well placed to top the group. Napoli and Liverpool going through. Group B, earlier the full-time, Porto 2, Atletico Madrid 1, Leverkusen 0, Bruges 0. Porto top the group. Bruges also go through. Atletico Madrid are out of Europe. In Group C, it is Bayern 1, Inter 0, Pilsen 0, Barcelona 2. Bayern, of course, going through and heading for 6 wins out of 6. Inter also going through in second place. Pilsen, the one team that Rangers might get some relief from, in the sense that they could yet finish worse than Rangers are in the group standings. And in Group D, this is a great group. It's now Sporting 1, Frankfurt 0, and Marseille 1, Tottenham 0. So as things stand, Tottenham would be missing out of the knockout stages of the Champions League. Sporting in the live table, Sporting 10 points, Marseille 9, Tottenham 8, Frankfurt 7. So clearly anything could still happen in that group. Phenomenal conclusion to that. It's not just quite as spine-tingling and exciting. In Group A, the only thing Rangers can hope for in the second half is to stem the bleeding a bit, I suppose, potentially to get a goal. He'll maybe look at the bench, maybe get 1 or 2 players just to try to freshen things up, Rich.
Yeah, and I think, your league's now all important, isn't it? So don't kind of risk the players that don't need to be risked. I know they don't have a lot of depth because of the injuries, which is another reason to just kind of protect the ones that, take Čolak off. He's been your shining light this season, in terms of goals. Put Morelos on because he'll get the fitness. I think it's because even if they come back and they win 3-2, it makes no difference now. They'll maybe want a bit more character from his players in the second half, a bit more desire, a bit more quality certainly in the final third. But really, would you want to risk players' fitness for to score 2 goals against Ajax in a game that means nothing now? I personally think they should just, like I say, protect those guys that he feels that need protecting. Give other guys minutes off the bench and just kind of see the game out as best you can and hope don't concede any more goals.
They're at McDiarmid Park on Sunday, midday kick-off. St Johnstone against Rangers at 3 o'clock. Hearts against Motherwell. Live coverage of both those games, of course, on Sunday Sports Sound. 2 games on Saturday, both at 3 o'clock. Celtic, Dundee United, Ross County, St Mirren. Then, of course, a busy fixture list right across the Championship Leagues 1 and 2. Friday night, unusually 2 Premiership matches. Aberdeen against Hibernian, Kilmarnock against Livingston. Live coverage on Sports Sound on the radio. Live coverage on BBC Scotland Television at Balmoral Stadium. The first ever live Championship match for Cove Rangers on the telly against Queen's Park. Live coverage of that on BBC Scotland. Before then, though, live European action both on tomorrow night and on Thursday. Hearts in action in the Conference League, of course. Celtic, as we heard earlier from some of our guys in Madrid, are there to take on Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. You get that one live. That's an earlier kickoff, so join them from 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. And just one other pointer actually about Friday night. I mentioned those 2 Premiership matches. There will be a special highlights programme on Friday night starting at 11:30 for those 2 games. Aberdeen, Hibernian, Kilmarnock, Livingston. Richard will probably be doing it.
No, actually not.
I don't think this presenter or guests, I think it might just be
Oh, self-contained, just
You
the
would
highlights.
know, Tomo, you would know.
Yeah. Right. I'm sure we'll got you to look forward to on Saturday night, though, Tomo.
Hopefully.
She just go on a week-to-week basis, just in case. Never take things for granted. Quite right. Liverpool-Napoli just resumed, still 0-0. It's 2-0 Ajax as we head back to Tomo, to Mark Haitley and to Al Lamont.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, I guess we have to do this second half as well, don't we? All sorts of potential records that Rangers are about to clinch. As you were saying at half-time, they're on course to be the worst ever Champions League side. Their own lowest tally from a Champions League group stage was 2 points back in 2009-2010. And they got a couple of draws away to Stuttgart and away to Unira Urzichen. And as I mentioned earlier on, no Scottish team has ever lost all 6 matches in the Champions League. Rangers have a lot of work to do if they are to preserve that particular record. Anyhow, back underway with no changes from either side, although Glenn Kamara was doing a pretty rigorous warm-up there at half-time. Might see him fairly early on as Wrench, who was the one change made in the first period for Ajax, enforced after the injury to Wijndal. Picks up, good play between King and then also Tillman, both under significant pressure but staying composed and keeping hold of the ball. As it's played forward to Kent down the left-hand side for Rangers. Back to Davis. Barisic still deep in his own territory, just knocks the ball forward, looking for Cholak, who's unable to keep control of it under pressure from Timber, and it will be a throw and quickly taken by the young Dutch defender, still just 21, the centre-back, but possibly going to the World Cup with the Netherlands, and a very exciting young prospect. Bassey plays it back to Timber just outside his own penalty area. I guess to some extent this second half, Tomo, could be about how much Ajax want to go and add to their tally.
Oh, that looks a sore one. Sorry, Al.
Plays continuing, Kudus knocking it forward, but yeah, Sands caught Wrench late, I think it was, as the two challenged there for the aerial ball. Yeah. Sands just late to the party there, Mark.
Yeah, it was. Well, he got there as early as he could, but not quick enough. An awkward one in the ribs, one in the back.
Yeah, they both hurt themselves. In fact, Wrench is quicker to his feet.
It looked like quite a heavy impact on James Sands, right in his back, right across the rib cage. Hopefully he's all right, because I mean, if Rangers were to lose a centre half, another one, then I really don't know where they go from there. But with any luck, he's just winded and he can get back to his feet, which I think is going to be the case.
We're just talking now. We've just kicked off. Rangers need a goal. Get this crowd up in the air and give themselves a fighting chance of getting back into this game. You need the fans. You need the fans up. At the moment, you can actually hear a pin drop in here.
Yeah, other than maybe the Ajax fans over on the far side who are still enjoying their evening in Glasgow. And you've got the Union Bears away to our left, and the Broomloan Road stand to tend to make a racket throughout. But other than that, most inside Ibrox are pretty bemused by what they've seen so far. Both Sands and Wrench back on their feet, and they will just await the signal from the officials to allow them back onto the field of play. It will be a free kick to Ajax for the challenge by Sands in the first instance, and it's taken short by Tadic to Taylor. 3.5 minutes already of the second half played, nothing much happened, most of it for treatment there to the two players. Ajax have it, and both players rejoin the fray, and it's Bergwijn picking up for Ajax, and out to the right hand side it goes. Bergwijn once more, Davis trying to stick with him, so difficult to knock off the ball, and it's back with Bassey just inside his own half. He's had a decent game, Calvin Bassey, back at Ibrox, despite having come under some criticism for his performances in the Champions League against Napoli and Liverpool and the heavy defeats they suffered.
Yeah, he's not having to come up against the same type of opponent.
I was just going to say it's a comfortable day because he's not hardly playing up against anybody.
Here come Ajax. Berghuis trying to thread it through, gets it to Kudus eventually. Rangers nick it back though. Tillman doing just enough to play it to Davis. Tavernier on the edge of his own box. Plays it forward, looking for Tillman. It's well cut out though by that man Alvarez. First to every loose ball, it appears. Tadic picks up, feeds Renge, left-hand side of the penalty. It takes a big deflection and McGregor able to recover. It came off Scott Arfield, and I just thought for a minute it was going to spin it at the front post, but there wasn't enough pace in the ball, and McGregor gathers. 5 minutes of the second half gone. Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Came from another slack Tavernier pass. It was one in the middle of the park and out to this left-hand side, and Tadic's weight of pass for the overlapping run was brilliant, and then the cutback took a deflection. It looked as though it could spin towards Al McGregor's near post, but it just ran out of steam.
Sands in possession, looks to have recovered from that clatter he took a minute ago. Zone doing really. Here's Kent out on the left-hand side. Barisic goes in the overlap. Kent knocks it forward. Barisic for the first time, ball straight into the arms of Pasveer before any Rangers player can get anywhere near it. And Pasveer will just roll it out to Timber at the edge of his penalty area. And he spins away from Cholak and then plays it square to Bassi. Mark, if you're looking at the Rangers bench, who's your first go-to man as you try and lift spirits inside Ibrox? Is it that man Morelos for you?
Yeah, definitely. Get him on, mess people around. You know, that's what we're lacking at the moment. We're lacking. It's so easy. So what we're looking at now, playing three at the back now. So easy for the back three, back four, back two at times. We need somebody that's going to keep them on the toes.
I'd like to see young Lowry come on.
Yeah, I would like to see him as well. Give him a chance.
Because you know there's nothing riding on this game now. Yeah. Give him the experience, and he's such a talented player.
Yeah, he's got that edge, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victoria Pilsen have a goal back against Barcelona, which isn't good news for Rangers' hopes of avoiding that worst ever Champions League side tag. They now have a goal difference 2 better than Rangers, as Arfield seemed to catch the Ajax player in the middle of the park there, and eventually the free kick goes Rangers' way for the challenges and Tillman that came in from Alvarez and Bergwijn, but it was it Timber that Arfield caught earlier, and I thought that should have been a free kick. But
I was watching the ball, Alistair, I just missed it. We'll get a replay of it now.
It is Timber. Well,
that's not too bad.
Not too much in it, is there? 50-50.
Maybe just raked a wee bit of his stud across the top of his boot, across his ankle, but I'm sure he'll be all right.
Ajax looking at making a substitute sometime fairly soon. 3-1 Barcelona, incidentally. So
that didn't last long.
It did not.
He obviously annoyed them.
And Timber still down, getting a bit of treatment. Not sure if it'll be. Well, he might have to be replaced. Don't know if that was necessarily the change they were planning to make. Looked like David Klaassen on the bench who was being prepared. Steven Berghuis might be the player to make way. Actually did look like he possibly pulled up when he scored that goal earlier on. When I think have we concluded that it was a missed kick for that first goal?
I think Stephen Davis caught him on his kicking foot.
Right.
I think. And that's why he was sort of going away with that grimace on his face.
Well, I mean, if he means it, it's unbelievable, because he sent everyone for a pie. But it was, for me, I think it's a slight miss hit, and regardless, it hit the back of the net.
Yeah. Richard was saying that Leon King thinks it's going wide. My instinct was actually that Leon King was just leaving it because he thought it was going to be a simple one for Alan McGregor to pick up.
Alan McGregor was right behind him.
Not realising that McGregor had committed himself to diving to his left. Either way, you'd have hoped for it to be dealt with better. Timber's gone off the field of play just for the moment. Plays resumed with a Rangers free kick. Pretty stop-start to this second half as Sands tries to flight one over the top there for Tillman and almost reached him, but not quite. And Ajax will look to clear their lines down the right-hand side. Timber looks like he's going to be okay to come back on, although still limping. Bassi clears from the edge of his own penalty area. And out for a throw-in on the near side to Rangers. Sakala will take it quickly back to Tavernier. Klaassen is going to be the man to come on as Timber retakes his place. Sakala just shows too much of that to Range, and then he's dragged back though by the fullback. That's got to be a yellow card for the left fullback. Well, Sakala almost miscontrolled it. If he did miscontrol,
that's what he does. That's what he does.
It took him past the defender.
That's why nobody can predict what he's going to do.
That's it. And then once he's past you, because he's so quick and he's powerful, then you know you're always fighting a losing battle, and it's a definite yellow card for Rangers. I don't know why he's protesting so much, but a chance now for Rangers and Tavernier on this right hand side to put the ball into a decent area. They're going to make that sub now out.
Yeah, and it is Steven Berghuis, the man whose goal got Ajax off and running after just 4 minutes, who will be replaced. And Davy Klaassen, another Dutch international, another man with designs on a World Cup place, comes on to replace his countryman. And there's no real drop in quality, you'd have to say. Tavernier from the right hand side, terrible delivery. Might come though for Kent, who clips it back in, and Arfield, he just seemed to wait, and the goalkeeper came off his line and grabbed it, whereas if Arfield had just committed to it, he might well have got on the end of it, but Kent himself might have gone for the shot as well. And Giovanni van Bronckhorst looks to be signalling for at least one, perhaps a couple of his substitutes are warming up to come back to the technical area and get ready to go on. But that was a chance for Rangers. Still they trail 2-0, and here come Ajax down the left-hand side. Rangers, a brilliant ball. Kudus for 3-0. Oh, he just sliced Rangers open. Wonderful ball from Divine Range, and there was Kudus, one touch out of his feet. The second pass, Alan McGregor. It's Rangers 0, Ajax 3.
I think it was 3 passes, that wasn't it? 3 passes. Boom, boom. What a ball across though for Kudus.
Yeah, I mean the quality of the ball in from Range is absolutely inch perfect. Yeah. It really is.
He had the audacity to take a touch as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to hit it first time. I would have certainly hit it first time, but I mean, that just shows you the composure and the balance and the confidence these players have. He might be a tad offside. I think we'll probably go to VAR, will it? Yeah, they're doing a check.
It is offside.
Yeah, that's how we like to see VAR out. See that? That was done in 20 seconds there.
Did you say it was a Tadic offside?
That's how offside should be done.
Well, a bit of relief for Rangers, who thought they had gone 3 down. Napoli have had a goal disallowed as well, also for offside against Liverpool. There's an offside flag up here against Antonio Cholak, who I'm not sure how many touches he's had in the game.
Very few indeed. But I mean, it was all so easy the way that they cut Rangers open there. And Mark's right, 3 passes in behind the fullback, and then the ball in is inch perfect. And really, Kudus probably went half a second early. He was only offside by half a foot, but that's what we want to see from VAR.
Yeah, that's how, see what they did there from the back. It's aggressive football.
Yeah.
It's up, in, across.
Alan McGregor right at the edge of his penalty area as Rangers prepare a triple substitution. Ryan Kent picks up on the left-hand side before they can make it. Running at the Ajax backline. Can he produce a moment of magic here? Ryan Kent. Well, he went inside a corner kick. Kerdin Yutsan, a quick update on the substitute.
Yeah, managers often wait for the hour mark, but Giovanni van Bronckhorst isn't bothering. 58 minutes, Morelos, Kamara and Wright will all come on. We'll probably wait though and get this Rangers corner kick first.
I reckon so. Triple change to come as Rangers look to somehow turn the tide at Ibrox. Corner kick on the left-hand side to be taken by Borna Barisic. Can Rangers make something of this and claw their way back into the game? Barisic sends it into the 6-yard box, high up in the air from Kudus, and then helped on by Klaassen. Kent will go and try and retrieve it, left-hand side for Rangers. 58 minutes gone, as Kerdin said. Rangers 0, Ajax 2. Could have been worse just a minute ago as Kudus turned the ball into the net, only to be dragged back for offside. Here's Sakala, plays the 1-2 with Cholak. Sakala now for Kent. Kent left-hand side of the penalty area, charged down in his attempted shot. Tillman also blocked with his shot as Alvarez takes a sore one. There is trouble. It's Tadic actually, the captain, on the edge of the box, closing him down. Here's Bergwijn for Ajax, left-hand side, well challenged by Tillman. Now Davis, bit better from Rangers in terms of putting themselves about. Out it goes to the left-hand side for Kent. Sanchez goes to ground and wins the ball back off Kent, but he's won it back once more, the Englishman, and then plays it for Tavernier. Tavernier 30 yards from goal, just right to centre, plays it to Sakala. Sakala up against Rensch, goes by him. A good challenge by Rensch though to win possession back. Just looked like he'd got the better of him there, Sakala. Sakala slides back in, knocks it out for a throw-in, but at least a bit of will and desire being shown by Rangers. You can probably hear in the background Stephen Davis, the man to be replaced by Glenn Kamara. Alfredo Morelos will come on in place of Antonio Chola, and the third change, Scott Wright, is for Malik Tillman. Any of those changes ones you would quibble with at all, Stephen? Or
no, I mean, yeah, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst twisting early, trying to get a bit of impetus into the side. Cholak's been very, very quiet throughout the match. He just feeds off service, and he's had none really out with what he does in the penalty box. He doesn't bring too much towards this Rangers side, so Morelos has a chance to impress.
Rensch back to Bassey.
He's got to try and formulate getting a shot at the opposition. That would be a start. I mean, we're 60 minutes in. I don't think there's been one shot on target yet.
Not that I can recall. I think if we agree that the Sakala header in the first half was probably going off target before Bassey intervened. Here's Tadic clipping it forward for Klaassen. It'll fall for Taylor as it's cut out. Kamara trying to close him down as his first involvement. Klaassen no links with Tadic. Rangers just managed to work it clear. Here's Arfield. Kudus working back at him, out to the right hand side for Sakala, who feels he's got the beating of Rensch, but then just runs into Kudus, and Bergwijn picks up, and then Rensch knocks it back to Timber, who, like Lisandro Martinez before him in the Ajax backline, is not the tallest of centre backs, but he can certainly play a bit. Here's Alvarez coming forward for Ajax, just threads it through simply for Bergwijn. Bergwijn out to the left hand side for Rensch, just past the hour mark. 2-0 Ajax, could have been 3. Goal chopped off for offside. Here's Bergwijn as Ajax do look to initiate a third. There's Tadic, a wonderful bit of skill out to the right hand side. Sanchez with a shot, closed down by Barisic, and that will spin behind, I think, for a corner kick.
Throw in
indicates the assistant on the far side. The Rangers having to work ever so hard to prevent the damage from getting worse here with 62 minutes on the clock.
Brilliant feet from Bergwijn at the edge of the box, plays it to Tadic. He's got the vision to just look out to his right hand side, lays it out, and then when the shot came in, it was really well blocked actually from Borna Barisic.
Throw in down near the corner flag on the right hand side for Bergwijn. Victoria Flosen have scored again against Barcelona. 3-2 they trail. If you're wondering why I'm updating that particular score, it's because they are vying with Rangers. Well, I suppose you could say they're vying to avoid being the worst ever Champions League side. Rangers currently in pole position in terms of fulfilling that role, taking over from Dinamo Zagreb, a title they've held for 11 years now, 10 or 11 years in the Champions League. No points and a goal difference of minus 19. Well, Rangers has gone minus 20 with the 2 goals that have gone in this evening so far, as Morelos barges into the back of Timber, putting himself about and showing his frustration for some of his teammates who are not perhaps pushing up quite as much as he would like them to.
Yeah, I mean, he then turns and gives the referee a mouthful, and it's a clear foul, but at least he's shown some desire, some fight.
Can I say, I think he's giving his back full.
Yeah, it was a mouthful.
He wants the ball quicker. He's making a run and he wants the ball. That's what I like to see from the centre forward doing, forcing people to pass.
Here's Timber again. Morelos trying to get back at him. Picked up by Klaassen. Ajax, they just keep the ball for fun. And it's becoming more and more frustrating for Rangers. They can't get near the ball. Here's Klaassen on the edge of his own penalty area. Forward now for Bergwijn. Sands comes all the way forward from centre back to try and track him. And could leave Rangers exposed at the back if Ajax can play it forward. Tadic thought he'd kept that ball in play, but The assistant on the near side signals otherwise. It's out for a throw-in, more or less in the halfway line to Rangers. 2-0 they trail, 64 minutes in, heading for a 6th straight Champions League defeat. Wright trying to get it forward for Sakala, but Alvarez in the way once more. Then he was fouled. The Mexican wins his side a free kick deep in their own territory. And it has been a harsh lesson from start to finish, this Champions League experience for Rangers. Of course they wanted to be here, and they might well end up better for it, but at times it's difficult to see where the positives come from. Kudus well challenged by King. Arfield back for Tavernier, good ball for Sakala, right hand side, early ball in, but Timber's there instead of Morelos, who Sakala had hoped to try and find, and Ajax managed to clear the lines. Good defending though by Sands, picked up by Kamara. Played 65 minutes. It's Rangers 0, Ajax 2. Kudus and Berghuis in the first half for the goals. Here's Kent, left hand side, comes in field, trying to get away from his man Sanchez, who brings him to the deck, does he? Well, eventually Morelos is fouled. I thought Kent on was also should have been a free kick, but the referee eventually awards it for Morelos being fouled. You'll see the Sanchez.
Yeah, it should have been a foul. Sanchez.
Referee looking right at it as well.
Yeah, well, he might have allowed play to continue with the advantage, and Morelos then was taken down a couple of yards nearer the goal. So still a
Tavernier or Barisic.
fair old distance. It's very sensible.
Too far out.
Too far for both, you think? Tavernier scored maybe once or twice from this kind of distance. What were we talking? Just over 35 yards, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say it can't be much.
I mean,
less than that.
It's going to be an absolutely top quality effort to score from this distance, that's for sure. Tavernier and Barisic both over it, just slightly left of centre, I think. Tavernier steps up, does go for goal, straight into the arms of Pasveer. Rangers 0, Ajax 2, 66 minutes gone. Shot on target though.
Shot on target, I was just going to say.
It was always going to be a big ask from that distance to trouble Pasveer in goal, and he gets over the wall but really doesn't have enough power or direction to trouble the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was a comfortable take for Pasveer when we see the rerun. He read it all the way as McGregor knocks out to the left hand side for Barisic. Forward looking for Wright. Wright tries to return it to Barisic. He's off for the pass, but King goes across there to pick up possession. Gets it back once more from Wright. Midway inside his own half, up towards Morelos. Clattered into by Timber. That's good play from Antonio Morelos.
That's what you want your centre-forward to be doing. Getting himself, putting his body between the centre-half and the ball. Simple stuff, you know, get your free kick, get your team up the park.
Free kick to Rangers, albeit still 10 yards inside their own half. There's Sands for Tavernier, halfway line, right hand side, slides it forward for Arfield. Looks like he might be offside, but play will continue. Hits the byline. Can he pick out a teammate in the middle? Bass is there to deny him that, and the flag stays down. It will be a throw in. Tavernier to Arfield, gets it back once more to the skipper. Right hand side for Rangers, midway inside the Ajax half. Kamara back in field for Tavernier, back to the halfway line to King. King invited forward, out to the left hand side to Barisic. Can Rangers somehow get the goal back that might just ignite the crowd, might ignite the game? Kent with a step over and runs it out of play. It will be a goal kick to Ajax, and once again it simply hasn't happened for Ryan Kent on the Champions League stage.
No, I mean, he's trying to be positive, take on his full-back, but just ran out of pitch. He needed another 5 yards. He took quite a heavy touch. The one before that for Scott Arfield, he had so much time to sit and pick out a man. Eventually goes with the Morelos run at the front post and tries to flash it across, but easily defended by Ajax.
Barisic back to McGregor, just beyond the halfway point in this second period. The positive for Rangers in the second half is they haven't conceded again, albeit Ajax had a goal chopped off for a marginal offside. There's Sakala, good play from him. Scott Wright inside the penalty area, right hand side, tries to feed it in. Bassey again in the way of the cross. He really has had a good game on his return to Ibrox. Calvin Bassey showing exactly why Ajax were attracted to him in the first place. Scott Wright turning into Timber, and then Timber knocks it out of play. Throw in 2 Rangers on this near side. Timber and Tadic bemused by the decision. They felt the throw-in should have gone their way. Sakala picks up from Tavernier's throw. Tavernier gets it back and then plays it into the penalty area. Wright can't keep hold of it, neither can Arfield. Breaks off Barisic for Morelos though. Back with Barisic out to the left-hand side for Kent. Kent up against Sanchez, turns one way, then the other. Eventually puts the ball into the back post. Tavernier heads it down into the 6-yard box. No Rangers player there. Bassey was there. Arfield turns it on goal and tipped over the crossbar, was it? Or is it just off the top of the It's a corner kick. I thought Pasveer got the touch to it.
Pasveer, great save.
Yeah, the referee agrees. Might just have clipped the crossbar in any case. But a good effort from Arfield.
Really good technique on his left foot.
Great awareness.
It hits both. You're right, Alistair. Great spot. A touch from Pasveer and then it clipped the top of the bar. It was dipping viciously from about 19 yards.
Corner kick, Rangers right hand side. Tavernier to take as Rangers look for a goal to get them back into the game. Headed away by Timber. Barisic trying to keep the pressure on though. Out from Arfield to the left hand side. Kent will keep it in. Barisic as always in support with him up against 2 players. Kent to the edge of the penalty, spins away from Bergwijn. Good play from Kent. And it comes. Sakala's in there, so too Morelos. Neither can get a header of any great note in, and Ajax come away once more with possession. Sands dispossesses them though. It's Barisic left hand side for Kent once more. Klassen with him. Kent spins away from him, finds Barisic, and back in field to Kamara. This is better from Rangers. The fans getting a bit more behind them now, looking for a goal. Morelos knocks it back to Tavernier, midway inside the Ajax half, out to the right hand side for Sakala. Sakala up against range, in field he comes. Back out to Kamara, about 30 yards from goal, left hand side. Kent, one touch, sends it into the 6-yard box. Bassey clear, only as far as Tavernier. Tadic will get there first. Tavernier goes down, catches Tadic, hurts himself in the process. It will be a free kick to Ajax. 71 on the clock. Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Definitely Rangers' best spell of the game this last 5 minutes. They've really got the crowd behind them. They're trying to look a goal threat now. And this time it's Tavernier who's down injured. It could be a...
It's the first time they've asked questions for a long, long time in this game.
It is, yeah.
I do think that Arfield shot was probably going to hit the bar in any case before Pasveer's intervention. Nonetheless, a very good effort from the edge of the box.
Effort, really good effort.
As James Tavernier gets some treatment here. It was his foul on Dusan Tadic, and he's come off worst. And as we've been bemoaning already, Rangers don't have their troubles to seek in terms of...
That's his toe.
Yeah, troubles in terms of defensive injuries.
No, I know.
They do have Adam Devine right back on the bench, but it'll be a tough game to throw him into.
Yeah, it was just... Tadic just got there a millisecond before Barisic and then trod on the top of his toe with his stud. That's going to be throbbing tonight.
Helped to his feet by his former teammate Calvin Bassey, who sees the funny side of it. I'm not sure James Tavernier can see it just at the moment as he limps off, having had some treatment. And hopefully he'll be back in the next few seconds as Ajax resume things. Ajax have certainly turned the possession round, 53% in their favour now, with Rangers having had 55 at one point in the first half, but unable really to do anything meaningful with it. That was the main problem. Ajax, on the other hand, scored twice in the first half and could have had more, in all honesty. Ball's back with Alan McGregor with 17 minutes left of Rangers' Champions League campaign this season. Tavernier. Looked like a handball from Tavernier. Yes, indeed. Tadic claimed for it. Referee agreed. And it will be an Ajax free kick about 10 yards inside the Rangers half, left-hand side, to be taken by Kenneth Taylor. Rangers certainly don't want this to get any worse. 2-0. Not an embarrassment, albeit, it's a 6th consecutive Champions League defeat. But they can emerge with a modicum of dignity, certainly from the second half. But I feel like I'm clutching at straws.
I think you're massively clutching at straws.
Yeah.
Bassey quickly closed down by Morelos, skips away from him, just caught him there. Morelos, but play continues with Alvarez in possession just inside his own half, looking for options for the forward. Sanchez makes the run. Instead he goes infield to Kudus, who's scored one and had another chopped off for an offside that was only a matter of centimetres in it. Here's Timber exchanging passes with Davy Klaassen. Back it goes to Kenneth Taylor now. It's Bergwijn moving at pace towards the edge of the penalty area, dancing inside the penalty area, just can't get past Kamara in the end, and Sakala picks up inside his own penalty area and knocks it back to Alan McGregor. Rangers standing firm on that occasion as Bergwijn tried to weave his way between a number of defenders. Ajax have it back, and it's Tadic turning one way then the other. Sanchez back to Alvarez. Alvarez dropping into the almost a centre-back position at times, with Timber stepping forward as Barca go 4-2 up. What Rangers need to happen is for Pilsen to lose by a goal more than they lose by, and I think that would make the goal difference even. Here is Tadic from the edge of the penalty area, and that's not too far off target from the mercurial Serbian. And Alan McGregor pleased to see that one drift off target. 15 minutes to play, Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
Something they don't do often is hit the ball from distance as Ajax. They normally try and work it in and around your box with intricate passing, and Tadic just saw that opening up there on his left foot, thought he'd have a pop, went about a metre over the bar.
Here come Rangers. Poor pass though by Scott Wright. Fans immediately on his back for that. Ajax come forward now down the right hand side, and it's Tadic. Always looking to get involved. 33 years old, but still massive talent. Another one who's World Cup bound with Serbia. Kamara picks up on the edge of his own penalty area, pressured by Klaassen. Lovely skill by Glenn Kamara. Saw Neymar do a pass like that just at the weekend for PSG. Glenn Kamara emulating that, not in quite as dangerous a position as PSG, where he was at the edge of his own penalty area there, Glenn Kamara, and Ajax have possession back after all that. Kamara though again feeds it to Arfield. Arfield out to this near side, the Rangers right for Sakala, goes by Wrench, back goes Bergwijn, and Sakala was always losing his balance there. He goes to ground, but it was no infringement there from Bergwijn.
Bergwijn swatted Sakala there like a little fly.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant covering from him.
Yeah, power and pace.
Yeah, he read the danger brilliantly, didn't he? Because he knew that, he saw that Wrench was in danger of being beaten there, and Bergwijn just went back and, as you say, brushed Sakala to the ground. And Ajax have possession once again. 2-0 they lead in Glasgow. They have won every single meeting with Rangers in European competition, including the first couple, which were the very early stages of the Super Cup back in 1973, a two-legged affair, that one. They, inspired by Johan Cruyff, won both legs of that. They were in the midst of winning 3 European Cups in a row at that stage. That really was an Ajax team to behold. This one's not bad, but not quite the golden standard set by Cruyff and co back in the early 70s. Rangers weren't bad at that period either, were they? Lost possession out on the left-hand side. Ajax will pick up. It's Alvarez, plays it down the right, looking for Kudus, tracked by King and Kamara. Kudus holds on to possession until Barisic intervenes, knocks it out of play on the far side, and Ajax fans are bouncing to a man. It's usually the Rangers fans inside Ibrox who like to do the bouncy, but it's the Ajax fans who are revelling in their team's performance this evening. Here they come down the right hand side. Tadic infield for Kudus. Referee moves out the way, allows the pass to come out to the left hand side for Bergwijn, up against Tavernier, but 25 yards from goal. Back in field, Taylor thinks about the shot, then drifts it to the back post. Too much on it for Sanchez. Goal kick Rangers. 78 minutes played. It's Rangers 0, Ajax 2, and the wee bit of momentum that Rangers had, what, about 10 minutes ago, just gone back out of it.
It has. It's kind of disappeared a wee bit. They had a spell where they were looking threatening. Obviously the Arfield shot and a couple of balls flashed across the face, but Ajax seem to have got a grip of the game again in terms of possession, without really threatening Rangers, you have to say.
They've just kicked up a gear. I think that's all they've done. Started to move the ball a little bit quicker.
Here's Tavernier though for Rangers, out to Sakala. up against Wrench once more. Bergwijn coming back to help, flights it in too much on the cross. Kent will dash to keep it in, he's done well to do so. Out on the left hand side now, up against Sanchez. Sanchez dives into the challenge but wins the ball and then just flips it over the head of Ryan Kent, and it's helped on, and Ajax again will come away. It's a foul by Kamara on Davy Klaassen. Free kick Ajax, and again Rangers attack comes to nothing.
I think that's been part of the problem throughout the course of the Champions League campaign, is just getting into decent enough areas. When they do, they've not really looked like they're going to hurt anybody, and again that's just the difference in terms of the quality of the players. You know, the cost of Bergwijn and Kudos and players like that. Rangers just don't simply have that in their armoury.
Bassey charging forward over the halfway line, leaves it to Tadic. Tadic right hand side. Now Taylor, closed down by Arfield. Out it comes to Bergwijn. Tavernier comes across to try and close him down. Arfield also in close attendance. Back it goes to Taylor midway inside Rangers half. Tadic gives that away to Kamara. Very unlike him. Kamara has lost possession though to Klaassen on the edge of the penalty area. Tadic has another opportunity here. Kamara getting back at him. Was he fouled by Tadic? He was. It'll be a Rangers free kick. Had an untidy bit of passage of play there. Both Tadic and Kamara, who you can usually rely on to keep the ball for their respective sides, giving it away. Eventually a free kick goes Rangers' way. Just to a little note about that Barcelona Victoria Pilsen scoreline. What it does mean is that Pilsen have emulated Bate Borisov's worst ever goals against record in the Champions League. That's 24 conceded, and that's what they have let in, and they've still got what, about 10 minutes or so to play themselves. But Rangers' goal difference is poorer, and as things stand they will become the side with the worst ever Champions League record, with a goal difference of -20 from 6 games lost. Not an accolade that Giovanni van Bronckhorst would wish to have bestowed upon his side. Tavernier still midway inside his own half, plays it square to Leon King. King forward out to the left hand side for Barisic. Barisic back to Kent. King once more to Kamara, still inside his own half, closed down by Klaassen. Sands gets it to Leon King. King forward looking for right in a central area just outside the centre circle. It's a poor pass from him though, out to Sakala. Hasn't covered himself in glory since he's come on, Scott Wright, and Ajax have possession back yet again. Bassey just steps away from Morelos with the assurance of a player who knows he has the ability and pace to do so. Back it goes to Pasveer and then out to Taylor. 8 to play at Ibrox, plus any added on time. Rangers 0, Ajax 2. Real Madrid against Celtic to come tomorrow night. The earlier kick-off. Tune in with us on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland Extra, on BBC Sounds, on digital, on 810 medium wave, and online. Hearts in action in Istanbul against Başakşehir on Thursday as well. You'll have all of that. Hopefully those two can produce a victory as Alvarez gets forward and heads over the crossbar for Ajax as they threaten a third. Double change coming for Rangers. Kennedy.
A welcome sight for some Rangers fans. Alex Lowry's coming on for the final 7 and a bit minutes, and Matondo coming on as well. That's Ryan Kent coming off, and looks like Scott Arfield as well finished his match.
Yeah, first team appearance of the season for Alex Lowry, who burst onto the scene last season, and as you said, Stephen, he does look a very promising, exciting talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And the times that I saw him last year, on the ball, very, very comfortable, always looks to go and attack and get by a player. A real prospect for Rangers, and this will do him the world of good to get some minutes under his belt in a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, he missed the start of the season through injury, and then on his comeback, or part of his comeback for the B team, he got a bad injury. Morelos has closed down Pasveer. Chance for Morelos to turn it in. Oh, he's sent it wide. How did he miss that one? Alfredo Morelos, he did all the hard work, closed down Pasveer, won it off the goalkeeper, and then somehow turned the shot wide of the post, and it remains Rangers 0, Ajax 2.
It's an incredible miss. I mean, he does so well to close down past Fear, gets himself in all sorts of difficulties, then get an empty net gaping. All he has to do is get an angle on his shot, and he puts his laces through it. It's just, all you need is a side foot there. It's an open goal.
Just have to run it towards the goal. That's what you've got to do.
He's just gone with power and pulled it past the post, and it pretty much sums up Rangers' whole campaign in the Champions League, that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What a chance for Alfredo Morelos to get his first Champions League goal. Just Rangers' second it would have been in the entire campaign. As I say, having done the hard work, he turned the ball wide. I'm not so sure it was quite as bad as the miss we saw at Celtic Park last week from one of the Shakhtar substitutes, but it was up there. Matondo hits the deck, penalty kick. Matondo just on as a sub's taken down by Sanchez. And what an impact on the substitutes. Alvarez, who comes across him in the end, and he just took him out of play. And that's a correct decision, Mark, isn't it?
Correct. Correct decision. Very direct from Matondo there. Good to see. I thought he was going to let the ball rip before, one touch before that, but he played his cards. Alvarez, simple decision for the referee.
Liverpool have gone one up against Napoli. Mo Salah with a goal. James Tavernier, the Rangers skipper, is going to take responsibility for this
Missed
penalty.
one on Saturday.
Yeah, having missed one, having hit the post against Aberdeen on Saturday. First missed penalty, I think, of the season for James Tavernier. Normally so reliable, certainly. And it's a big man who steps up once more, just a few days later, to take on the responsibility and try and reduce the arrears and maybe give Rangers just a sliver of hope in the dying minutes that they can salvage a point. Tavernier up against Pasveer. Rangers trail by 2-0. Can Tavernier reduce the arrears? It's Tavernier scores! And immediately goes and retrieves the ball as Rangers now feel maybe, just maybe, there's a point in this game for them. James Tavernier from the penalty spot, straight down the middle as Pasveer dived to his left. It's Rangers 1, Ajax 2.
I was going to say, just before Alvarez pulled the Tondo down there, he has a free header up here to take it 3-0.
Yeah,
literally
that's right.
2 minutes afterwards, he's chasing back there and giving a penalty away. And it's an interesting last, I'm going to say, what, 7 or 8 minutes?
Should be about that, yeah. Double sub, Al.
Yeah, Grilic and Conceição about to come on for Ajax. And off's coming Kenneth Taylor and Stephen Bergwijn. But yeah, there will be a fair bit added on time, because remember we had a couple of lengthy stoppages at the start of this second half. Of course, that gives Ajax time to score more themselves. But Rangers, who should have been back to 2-1 just a minute or so before that, when Morelos somehow sent that effort wide, now find themselves 2-1.
What it does,
thanks to Tavernier from the spot.
It gives the fans 10 minutes to try and bring them bring their team back into this now.
Back it goes to Pasveer, beaten, having been barely troubled all evening in the Ajax goal. And Ajax now will look to just see this one out at the very least, as Grilic comes on and gets his first touch, gets it back from Timber. He's quickly closed down by Wright. Wright's won it from him, finds Lowry. Lowry back to Wright. Davy Klaassen though steps in. Now it's Tadic crossing the halfway line. He's threaded it through, and here's a chance for Conceição just on the park, and he slots it past Alan McGregor, and Ajax do have a third goal. The substitute Conceição. Well, Matondo made an impact as Rangers substitute, and Conceição has just gone one better, played it on goal and sliding in Ajax's third goal of the evening. It's Rangers 1, Ajax 3.
Young Lowry giving the ball away in midfield there. That's a big lesson.
I mean, it's the speed at which Ajax then counter.
But we were saying about before, the strength from the bench. Conceição comes on, he can do this. You know,
the ball through from Tadic is absolutely wonderful, you have to say, and then Conceição looks as though he's going to hit it in his right, chops onto his left, Barisic can't readjust, and then the finish is really composed on his left foot underneath Alan McGregor. But yeah, I mean, you give the ball away, especially when Rangers were committing bodies forward. One pass basically wipes out the two centre halves. Conceição owns it like a flash, a lovely wee chop inside onto his left, and a great finish, and yeah, that's game over now.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. The 19-year-old son of Sergio Conceição, Porto boss, whose side have clinched their place in the last 16 already. And Francisco Conceição.
So had that Rangers penalty brought Rangers back into not being the worst team of all time in Champions League history?
I think they would have been level at the moment with Pilsen. Yeah, it's all immaterial now because they are now 3-1 behind Francisco Conceição off the bench for his first Ajax goal since joining from Porto in the summer. And what an impact he made. Great bit of composure again.
Yeah.
We've talked about the composure all night from the Ajax players. 4 minutes of added on time being played here at Ibrox. Thought it might be a bit more than that, but maybe it's just as well. It's just the 4 minutes now after that quick fire response from Ajax.
Well, we've only had one VAR incident, and it was quickly and swiftly dealt with within about 20 seconds, so no VAR real added.
Pasveer with the ball at his feet, closed down, poor clearance. Sands steps in, gets it back from Kamara. Sands once more finds Matondo midway inside the Ajax half. Poor bit of play from Matondo though, and he's coughed up possession rather easily. Rangers trying desperately to win it back. Here's Matondo left hand side again, can't keep a hold of the ball, and it's back with Pasveer, and then just cleared off the right foot of the veteran Dutch keeper.
Since he got caught by Morelos, he's launched every single one that's come back to him. Can't blame him really.
All the way back with Alan McGregor, who once again has been beaten on 3 occasions this evening, as Lowry picks up in a tough area but keeps his composure and plays the ball back to his fellow teenager Leon King. Knocks it forward down the right, looking for Sakala. It's just slightly over him. Range closed down by Scott Wright, back with Timber now, and then back to Pasveer. Wright will go and close him down once more. Pasveer gets the ball away and brushes off Wright. As he does so, Alvarez now closed down by Lowry, whose pass for Scott Wright was just a little bit off in the middle of the park in the lead up to that Conceição goal for Ajax, and how swiftly he was punished as Ajax moved forward in the blink of an eye. 3 passes before Conceição tucked it past Alan McGregor for their 3rd goal of the evening. Back it goes to Pasveer. Again, it's launched long by the keeper. King lets it bounce. Kudus was offside, and it will be a free kick to Rangers midway inside their own half. 2 minutes of injury time played as we see the De Boer twins, Frank and Ronald, former teammates of yours here, Stephen. I remember you telling me the story about how impressed Ronald De Boer was with your technique and training.
Yeah, he loved it. Yeah, I mean, it was great to play with them both. Obviously, coming towards the end of their careers when they were here at Rangers, but Ronald was a phenomenal talent. I think Frank just came for a bit of cash, top up the pension.
Rangers have it left hand side. Matondo trying to find Barisic down that left hand side, out of play. And clock ticking down towards full time. Rangers trailing by 3-1. Trying to find space on the left hand side to get the ball back into the penalty area. Well, we've got a trip to McDermott Park on the weekend, on Sunday, and they'll have to rouse themselves for that because there's no let-up domestically. 4 points behind Celtic currently, and they cannot afford to fall further behind, certainly before the World Cup. Here's Sakala, right hand side, inside the penalty, onto the left foot and balloons it over the crossbar. So much to admire about the build-up from Sakala, and then just knocks it over the crossbar.
I mean, he was very fortunate to. The first one's a ricochet, which is how he often gets past a defender. He kind of barges into him, gets past him, then does a nice chop.
Good chop.
And then he's still going at 100 miles an hour. He's on his left foot. Just pick a corner or
pass it into a corner.
Yeah, get it on target. He balloons it into Rosette, and that's the last act of the game.
It is that, Stephen. Some boos ring around Ibrox as the fans here watch their side fall to yet another Champions League defeat. There were high hopes they could bring about some positivity in this final game, but Ajax soon dispelled that. 2-0 up before half an hour was gone. The opening goal coming from Steven Berghuis after just 4 minutes. His chip fooling Alan McGregor and Leon King and ending up in the back of the net. And then Kudus making it 2-0 after a Vindal cutback from the goal line, and Kudus with a shot that deflected off the head of Leon King to make it 2-0. That was a score at the halfway point. Kudus thought he made it 3 just before the hour mark, but his goal was chopped off for a very marginal offside, but obviously correctly chopped off. Rangers were barely threatening. There was a Tavernier free kick that was comfortably saved. I think that was their first effort on target, 3/4 of the way through the game. Then Scott Arfield did force a good save from Pasveer in the Ajax goal. And then in the closing stages, Rangers threatened something of a comeback. 6 minutes to play, Alfredo Morelos on as a sub, robbed Pasveer inside his penalty area, but somehow, with the goal gaping, turned his shot wide and passed him a big opportunity to bring his side back into the game. But just a minute later, Ravi Matondo, also on as a substitute, went down under the challenge of Edson Alvarez, and up stepped the captain James Tavernier to score just Rangers' second goal in the Champions League this season from the spot to make it 2-1. Rangers at that point might have felt they had an opportunity to take something from the game, but again Ajax reacted quickly, and their substitute Francisco Conceição raced forward to execute a perfect finish at the end of a swift counter-attack to make it 3-1. That's how it finished. Rangers do end up with the worst ever record for a Champions League side in the history of the competition. It's 6 games played, none won, none drawn, 6 lost, 2 goals scored, 22 against, a goal difference of -20, the worst ever after 6 defeats. It has been a tough lesson in the Champions League for Rangers, who go and applaud the fans remaining inside Ibrox for their support. They will hope to be back next season, and they will hope to do better next time around. It is finished at Ibrox. Rangers 1, Ajax 3.
Rangers in the Champions League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
What a strike!